All right, gentlemen, we're going to look at our power rankings and our tier list here. But before we do that, every single class in the game, extremely powerful now. They all have multiple builds that can run the hardest difficulties in the game. So honestly, until a new difficulty comes out, the tier lists are going to be very hard to do because it's hard to gauge their power because they're all really well balanced for absolute now. But with that being said, it can always be done. So we're going to start with the power rankings before the tier list. The tier list, I can feel like there can be some bias into it, but with the power rankings, I really try to be unbiased as I can. And for most of my matches, I run solo or I run random queue matches. So I am usually with live teammates, and I'm sure that could play a role into my power rankings. So if anybody is interested in like a solo one, just leave some comments and I'll make a solo power rankings as well, because it would fall different than this. But how we are going right here, we have the heavy on top and our range damage. And there will be no double values when it comes to range, melee, or survivability. This is each class against each other, so there will be no double values unless your overall score just lands the same. So, first up, heavy range damage. I feel like he's the clear-cut 10. Every single gun that he has can outperform nearly every class in the game. You know, the multi-melta and the heavy plasma, they're gonna outperform every gun in the game. So next up, we have the sniper sitting there. Las Fusil, extremely strong weapon, and he can get to his, he has tons of damage perks. He has his ammo acuity perk now, where it is refilling his ammo on his Las Fusil, so that is why he's hitting number 2 spot. And then we have the tactical. He has his parry scans and different things like that, so his range damage is always staying up, and his plasma incinerator, and honestly the melta rifle, 2 very, very strong ranged weapons to run through with the tactical. And then we have the, who's coming up next? We got the Vanguard, which honestly, his range damage, it took a big tick. It feels really nice right now in patch 7. So even his range damage feels good. And then we're going to have it finishing up with the Assault and the Bulwark when it comes to range. And then we're going to jump straight into the melee damage. And we have Assault on top here. He does amazing boss damage, great AoE damage. Just overall, and his ground pounds are extremely effective and strong hitting. His jump pack fills up a lot faster, and now he can run a jump dash build because the jump dash actually works so much better, guys. It actually works. So after patch 7, if you haven't tried it, you can try that build out, and that will give you another 30% melee damage added onto a lot of your attacks. So very strong when it comes to melee, and then very close, honestly, is the Bulwark because of all of his defensive offense. That's basically what it is. He's got his intimidating aura. He's got his shock nade perks, multiple shock nade perks, and then on top of that, he is actually doing damage with his power sword or his power fist. Just very, very strong when it comes to melee damage, and he's beating out the Vanguard, who is another class that is well built for melee damage, and I think overall takes advantage of the blocking weapons the best. He can heal himself. He has amazing damage reductions to keep himself in there fighting longer than most classes. So that's why he is falling there on the list. And then we're finishing up with the tactical, the sniper, and the heavy, obviously falling last on the melee damage. And then when it comes to survivability, we have the Bulwark on top, and then the Vanguard. Both of these guys extremely good when it comes to survivability perks, not only for them, but their entire team. So just overall fantastic. And then this one was really hard for me to honestly decide on, but I ended up going the heavy over the sniper for survivability. The sniper with his new contested health perk, refilling your life, extremely strong and great for survival. But I felt like when I was playing the heavy, when you're tying certain things like strategic stand to the multi-melta, you have unlimited knockback, you're getting 15% contested health regain, your weapon is refilling your health extremely fast, and then on top of that, you have your Iron Halo, which I think is an underrated ability in the game, honestly. It eats up so much range damage. It's activate, deactivate. It's just a very, very strong ability and just prevents you from getting hit and letting you fire for longer on targets. So that's why I have him barely beating out the sniper when it comes to survivability. And then we finish it up with the tactical and the assault. Honestly, survivability perk-wise, very close. Neither one of them have a lot of them. And then on top of that, the only reason the tactical is beating out the assault, honestly, quite easily, is because of his weapons. The tactical actually has very, very good weapons that are refilling his contested health, and then he has his 30% contested health perk if he wants to take it. So that's why he honestly, he easily beats out the assault when it comes to survivability, just because of what I just mentioned about his primaries. But he falls behind definitely like the heavy and the sniper and things like that. All right, from there we are going to move straight into our tier list. So for this right here, you know, this is what I felt was the strongest classes in the game that were overall helping out the group, and some of the classes that I felt like I can nearly just carry my group on my shoulders. And the first one up is the heavy. If you tie him with his multi-melta, he is extremely deadly. He takes down massive hordes. He's going to supply massive amounts of stagger. He has the ability to use strategic stand, which is going to give him the ability to have knockback at the pull of a button. And just I'm telling you, do not sleep on this class. So the S tier for my first one up, we got the heavy, and then next up we have the bulwark. With the addition of the heavy bolt pistol, you can help a lot more with different type of ranged enemies that pop up. You know, the guys on the discs, neothropes, different things like that. You can usually get about nearly 10k damage if you stay consistent with your heavy bolt rifle working it into your gameplay. And obviously his melee damage has all basically ticked up. Power sword has seen massive buffs. He's only second to the assault when it comes to melee, and when it comes to survivability, I have him second to none. You know, he can refill his contested health, he can refill his teammates' contested health, and then he has the shield on his arm that is blocking most, you know, all ranged attacks. And honestly, if you haven't played the bulwark in a while, his shield is insane now. It blocks all kinds of ranged attacks it ever did. It'll literally just bounce off sniper shots. They don't stun you anymore. So extremely strong when it comes to survivability here on the bulwark, and that's why I felt like both of these classes really deserved the S tier slots here. And then when we're looking at our A tiers, and the reason we have our A tiers here is because the Vanguard, he is dealing good damage, but it is mostly because of his survivability perk, his team perk, and that's the reason why he's really, if you're not taking the 30% from extremists in absolute, then, you know, it's a questionable. Like, that's the main reason I really do have him sitting in A tier. That is a huge perk to have for your entire team, to get 90% health back every time an extremist spawns. And then we have the tactical sitting in A tier. This is mostly all due to his parry scan on terminus enemies. So his parry scan is always good, guys, but when you're in a random queue match, you know, other people are doing damage too. You're not going to be parry scanning everything on the map, but when there is a terminus enemy, they last a lot longer, and if you can put scans on them, it is massive damage, and it is a huge benefit to your team when you can go through a terminus enemy extremely quick and get through whatever else you got to get to, or if it's a boss fight at the end, you can go through that extremely quick. As long as the tactical is able to parry scan, it's going to be very fast that you can go through terminus, and it is a very, it's very beneficial to the entire team. So that's why I have him here in A tier. And then next up, we are going to have in B tier the sniper. And everybody knows this tier list, guys, like I said before, it is, you know, every class is really balanced. So, you know, honestly, everybody can be considered like A tiers with how the game is, with where the difficulty is, and where the power level of all the classes are. You know, every character can, but, you know, I just wanted to make a tier list and really separate things. And for the sniper, my main class, by the way, he is falling in B tier. And the reason he's falling in B tier is because he does do great range damage, like fantastic range damage, obviously, but he doesn't do as much range damage as the heavy, and he doesn't have like the horde clear and type of stuff like that as the heavy. And then when it comes to like giving benefits to your team, his ability that does refill your ability charge by 10%, extremely strong, but I don't find it as strong and as beneficial, quite as beneficial as our A tier and our S tier choices. Definitely not our A tiers where we got like the 30% health regains, and then we have the parry scans that can really take down bosses extremely fast. So that's why I kind of have him sitting in B tier. But as I said before, my main class, I think I can outdamage nearly anybody with this class. So, you know, for me, he's always S tier. But we'll move on. Okay, sniper is B tier. And then we're going to our assault is going to fall in my C tier. I think he helps the group out basically the least. but he does have extremely good boss damage, melee boss damage. Like, extremely good when he's tying his ground pounds and his charge shots. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it in, like, Decapitation or something against the Hive Tyrant. It is extremely fast that that an assault can go through the Hive Tyrant with his charged attacks. And not the Bulwark can actually do very similar damage now with the Power Fist, but, you know, the assault is still number one in that aspect with ground pound and just all the other abilities that he has tied to his melee. So that is the only reason we have him falling at C tier. But like I said before, guys, every single class extremely viable in the game now. Don't take the tier list in any type of way. It is just how I felt after going through all of these operations, where I would pit each class here. So, you know, either way, I think we're in a great place. You know what I'm saying? Everything is so balanced that you don't have to pick one class to go through the hardest difficulty. And on top of that, you don't have to even pick one build for one class to go through the top difficulty. You know, each class has multiple builds that really are strong in the game now. So a ton of fun right now. I can't wait for like Horde mode and stuff to come out. Keep it here. I'll have some more build guides coming out, obviously, and then just any other things that I come across in the game, I'll be making videos on very soon. And I do appreciate you guys checking out this one, and I will catch you on the next video.